Welcome to this lecture, which is how to quickly perform some basic calculations in Microsoft Excel 2010. In this lecture, you will learn how you can quickly perform some basic calculations in your worksheets using the status bar. And then you will also learn how you can use the editing toolbar in Microsoft Excel 2010 as a way to perform some basic calculations easily and quickly. Okay, you can perform some of the basic calculations such as finding the average, count of selected cells, numerical count, maximum, minimum, and sum of cells or range of cells that you select in your Excel worksheet using the Excel 2010 status bar. And in order to demonstrate how you can use the Excel 2010 status bar to quickly perform some basic calculations, let's take an example. Let's say you start working on the following worksheet. And as you can see, it's basically a report card for the student Samantha. And you can use the Excel status bar to get some information about this report card. Now, in order to do that, so let's say the first thing that you wanted to do is to find the average and the sum of the marks obtained by Samantha. So in order to get that information, what you will do, you will click on the first cell that contains the marks obtained for the subject chemistry, and then you will drag it down to the last cell which contains the marks obtained for the subject mathematics. And now, as you can see on the status bar, it displays the average. It also displays the count of rows selected. So if you can count over here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. And this count basically displays the count of rows in your selection. And finally, we also have the sum of marks obtained by Samantha. In the same way, you can find the same information for non-adjacent cells. So let's say you wanted to see the average for chemistry and mathematics. In that case, what you will do, you will simply click on the marks obtained for chemistry and then press and hold down the control key on the keyboard and click on mathematics. As you can see, the status bar now displays the average for chemistry and mathematics subjects, and the total number of rows in your selection are 2, and the total sum of marks obtained is 132. Moreover, you can also customize the Excel 2010 status bar to display some more information. So in order to customize the status bar, simply right-click on it, and as you can see, we have a lot of different options over here. So let's say you wanted to display the maximum in a list of numbers, and you also want to display the minimum. And you also want to get the information like when the caps lock is on or whether it's off, and the same applies to numlock as well. Now let's highlight these cells one more time and see the information that appears on the status bar. It now displays the average, we have the count, we also have the minimum, which is 45 in this list, and then we also have the maximum, which is for computers, which is 90, of course. And we also have the sum. And as you can see over here on the left-hand side, it displays the status of the numlock. And if you press the caps lock on your keyboard, it will display the status of the caps lock as well, which is turned on right now. Okay, next thing we're going to discuss is how you can use the Excel editing toolbar to perform some basic calculations. For instance, we can perform sum, average, count numbers, maximum, minimum. It's more or less like the same like the information that you saw on the status bar. But when you go ahead and select the columns, it only displays the information on the status bar, and it's not going to insert it directly into your worksheet. But what if you really wanted to find the totals over here in this cell? How would you do that? One way to do that is to either apply a formula, which you will learn in the Ultimate Edition of this course. But the simplest way to do that is to basically use the editing toolbar in Microsoft Excel 2010. So what you're going to do in order to find the total for this, you're going to again click on the first cell which contains the marks obtained for the subject chemistry. Then you're going to drag it down to exactly to the cell where you want the sum to appear. As you can see, I really want to have the sum in the totals cell. So once you do this, once you select this, simply go to the editing toolbar and in the pull down click on sum. As you can see, it automatically fills in the cell with the sum of these marks obtained for the student Samantha. And in the same way, you can also find the average by selecting these cells one more time and then stopping at the cell where you want to insert the average for all these numbers. And then you go back to the editing toolbar and click on the function which is average. As you can see, it automatically inserts the average for these numbers into the cell which is labeled as average. And finally, you can also use some more functions in this editing toolbar by clicking on the more functions options. As you can see, you can find other options like count, the sign, the SUMIF, and so on.